Prime Field.
They were perfect pieces on championship teams. Then professional basketball asked them to do something completely different. That is the real issue with these 8 players. This is not a list of college stars who were secretly overrated. It is a study of role translation. College programs can build lineups around a player's strengths, reduce her difficult decisions, and protect specific weaknesses. The WNBA usually cannot. At that level, the question changes immediately. Can you create an advantage without the college system creating it first? Can you stay on the floor when defenders ignore your jump shot? Can you defend professional screening actions without becoming the matchup opponent's hunt? And can you prove all of that during one short training camp? That is why the gap between college reputation and WNBA production can become so dramatic. Start with Alexis Morris. At LSU, Morris was not a minor role player. She was the primary backcourt organizer for the 2023 national champion. She averaged 15.4 points and 4.1 assists, scored 27 in the national semifinal against Virginia Tech, and added 21 in the championship game against Iowa. 19 of those 21 championship game points came after halftime. Watch how LSU used her. She could operate in ball screens, attack a tilted defense, and punish opponents after their attention shifted toward LSU's front court. The offense gave her defined reads. Turn the corner, hit the roller, reject the screen, get to the pull-up. Then the professional timeline compressed everything. LSU won the championship on April 2nd. Connecticut drafted Morris 22nd overall on April 10th. The Sun waived her on May 10th. 38 days separated the national championship from her WNBA release. That does not prove Morris lacked professional ability. It proves that a scoring-oriented guard entered the camp of a veteran contender and failed to win one of the league's most competitive roster positions. She went from controlling a championship backcourt to receiving 0 regular season WNBA minutes. That is the largest translation gap on this list. Number 2 is Khloe Jackson. Jackson's final college season is one of the clearest examples of a program successfully redesigning a player's job. Before Baylor, she was primarily a scoring guard. During her graduate season, Baylor moved her to point guard. She averaged 11.7 points and 5.3 assists, helped the Bears finish 37-1, and won Final Four Most Outstanding Player. In the title game against Notre Dame, she scored 26 points and made the winning layup with 3.9 seconds left. Look at what Baylor created around her. Jackson played with experienced teammates, elite interior size, and a defense that generated transition opportunities. She did not need to be the only source of offense. She needed to organize, attack available gaps, and make the next correct read. Chicago selected her 15th overall in the 2019. She played 8 WNBA games. Her career averages were 0.6 points, 0.8 rebounds, and 0.5 assists. The professional question was not whether she could play point guard for Baylor. She clearly could. The question was whether she had become a full-time WNBA point guard or remained an undersized scoring guard learning the position. Those are different evaluations. At the professional level, the point guard must organize against more aggressive ball pressure, manipulate drop coverage, create paint touches late in the clock, and defend stronger guards on the other end. One brilliant college season at a new position may not provide enough repetitions to master every professional responsibility attached to it. Number 3 is Micaia Herbert Harrigan. South Carolina developed Herbert Harrigan into a mobile defensive forward with real first-round appeal. She could block shots, run the floor, defend in space, and stretch her range toward the perimeter. Minnesota selected her 6th overall in 2020. That draft position suggested a potential long-term starter. Instead, she recorded 53 regular season games across Minnesota, Seattle, and Phoenix, averaging 3.3 points and 1.8 rebounds. Her athleticism translated. Her professional position never became fully stable. Watch the matchup problem. Against traditional power forwards, did she have enough lower body strength to hold her ground inside? Against wings, was her handle tight enough to attack closeouts and make decisions in space? When teams switched, could she punish smaller defenders? When defenders helped away from her, could she hit enough threes to force a rotation? This is the difference between being versatile and being positionally ambiguous. The physical profile can look similar. The distinction is whether the player performs enough professional-level skills to stay playable at multiple positions. Herbert Harrigan did return to the league and provide useful reserve minutes, so this is not a complete disappearance. The gap is between being drafted 6th and never establishing a stable, high-minute role. Number 4 is Morgan Tuck, and this case requires a major correction. Tuck won 4 national championships at UConn. She was the 3rd overall pick in 2016. Her college game included post footwork, mid-range scoring, passing, and high-level decision-making. She understood spacing. She could facilitate from the elbow. She could score against switches and punish slower defenders facing the basket. But her WNBA career ended with averages of 5.1 points, 2.2 rebounds, and 0.8 assists. She retired in 2021 at age 26. It would be irresponsible to frame that only as a failed position translation. Chronic knee problems were central to the outcome. Yes, there were professional questions. Was she large enough to defend stronger interior players? Was she quick enough laterally to handle perimeter matchups consistently? Could she provide enough three-point volume to play as a modern stretch forward? But health determined whether she received enough continuous repetitions to solve those problems. Availability matters in development. A player cannot refine her defensive angles, improve her timing and ball screen coverage, or build offensive rhythm if her body repeatedly interrupts the process. Tuck's career shows why translated and did not translate are not always clean categories. Number 5 is Kelly Faris. Faris was one of UConn's defining glue players. She defended, rebounded, moved the ball, and rarely disrupted offensive structure. She won championships in 2010 and 2013 and entered the WNBA as the 11th overall pick. She lasted 5 seasons, which matters. Surviving in the WNBA for 5 years is not failure, but her career averages were 2.1 points, 1.6 rebounds, and 0.7 assists. The limitation was offensive gravity. Watch how professional defenses treat a low-volume wing shooter. The defender can stunt toward the ball, dig down on a post touch, or shrink the driving lane without fully respecting the weak side spacing. That affects everyone. A smart cut is valuable. A connective pass is valuable. Strong individual defense is valuable. But if the opponent does not believe you can punish help coverage, the entire lineup operates in less space. At UConn, Faris could remain extremely useful because elite scorers surrounded her. In the WNBA, a team already playing another defense-first guard or a non-shooting big had less room to absorb that offensive limitation. Her college skills still mattered. They simply did not create enough independent offensive leverage. Number 6 is Saniya Chong. First, the championship total matters. Chong won 3 NCAA titles, not 4. She was part of UConn's championships in 2014, 2015, and 2016. By her senior season, she had become an efficient connector. She protected the ball, shot well, and made quick decisions beside more prominent offensive stars. Dallas drafted her 26th overall in 2017. She survived her first training camp and played parts of 2 seasons. She averaged 2.5 points before Dallas waived her in May 2018 to sign Spanish guard Leticia Romero. The transaction explains the professional pressure better than any dramatic label. Dallas chose a different guard profile. At UConn, Chong could advance the ball, facilitate secondary actions, and punish defensive attention directed elsewhere. In the WNBA, those skills needed to be attached to a clearer standalone advantage. Was she an elite shooter? A primary creator? A point-of-attack defender? A change-of-pace scorer? Making correct decisions is important, but decision-making alone does not always secure a roster spot when another player offers greater size, international experience, or a more clearly defined skill. Number 7 is DiDi Richards. Richards had one of the most transferable elite skills on this list, perimeter defense. At Baylor, she navigated screens, pressured primary scorers, and disrupted actions before they fully developed. She later won the 2020 WBCA Defensive Player of the Year award. New York drafted her 17th overall in 2021. She made the roster, played 31 games as a rookie, and earned AP All-Rookie recognition. Her defense translated. The problem was keeping her offense from narrowing the floor. Richards shot 45.5% from 3 as a rookie, but that percentage came on only 22 attempts. That is 10 made threes. The percentage looks impressive. The volume tells the more important story. Professional defenses respond to attempts, speed of release, and willingness to shoot, not only percentage. Watch the weak side defender. If Richards is standing 1 pass away and the defender does not believe she will shoot immediately, that defender can load toward the paint, crowd a drive, or disrupt a post entry. Richards could defend WNBA players, The question was whether her defense created enough value to offset the spacing cost on offense. That is a brutal standard, but it is the professional standard. Number 8 is Danni Henderson. Henderson scored 26 points in South Carolina's 2022 championship victory over UConn. She was an experienced floor leader, a transition threat, and a strong point-of-attack defender. Indiana drafted her 20th overall. As a rookie, she played 36 games and averaged 5.3 points and 2.5 assists. Across 57 recorded WNBA games, she averaged 4.8 points and 2.3 assists. That is respectable production for the 20th pick. Her issue is not proving she could play in the league. She did that. The issue is creating a sustainable long-term role. At 5'7", every weakness becomes harder to hide. In ball screen defense, size affects how easily a guard can recover after contact. On switches, it affects the range of matchups she can survive. Offensively, she must compensate through speed, shooting efficiency, decision-making, and reliable half-court organization. Look at the difference between transition and the half-court. In transition, Henderson can attack before the defense gets set. In a late clock possession, she must create against a loaded paint, longer defenders, and smaller passing windows. That is the translation challenge. These 8 players fall into 3 larger categories. The first is the college system guard, Chong and Jackson. They protected the ball, made correct reads, and played beside elite scorers. The WNBA demanded a stronger individual identity: primary organizer, high-volume shooter, paint-touch creator, point-of-attack defender, reliable bench scorer. The second category is the defense-first non-shooter, Richards and, to a lesser extent, Faris. College programs can play a limited shooter because 4 other players create offense. Professional teams cannot always sacrifice spacing at multiple positions. The defense must be valuable enough to pay for the offensive limitation. The third category is the positionally ambiguous forward, Herbert, Harrian, and Tuck, though Tuck's injuries make her case fundamentally different. In college, athletic forwards can overwhelm opponents without answering whether they are professional wings, power forwards, or small ball centers. In the WNBA, every position creates a new test. Can you defend strength? Can you switch onto guards? Can you shoot from outside? Can you attack a closeout? Can you make decisions in compressed space? This is what dominant college programs can hide. Not through deception, but through intelligent roster construction. A non-shooter can play beside 4 offensive threats. An undersized post can receive help from an elite rim protector. A secondary guard can attack advantage that another player created. A forward can dominate athletically without proving one fixed professional position. The player is still valuable, the job is simply narrower, the WNBA job is not. For most of these careers, the league had only 12 teams. Rosters generally carried 11 or 12 players. There were no dedicated developmental positions, and many rookies had one training camp to prove they could help immediately. That context has changed. By 2026, the WNBA has 15 franchises. Standard rosters contain 12 players, and teams can carry up to 2 developmental players. That creates more opportunities and more time for prospects to adapt. But expansion does not remove the translation problem. It only gives more players a chance to solve it. And that is the larger lesson. A national championship proves that a player contributed to winning at the highest level of college basketball. It does not automatically prove that her college role has a direct WNBA equivalent. Scouts must identify the skill that survives when the surrounding advantage disappear. Can the shooting hold up at professional volume? Can the defense survive multiple actions? Can the player create without a structural advantage? Can she fit a clear position? And when the answer is no, that does not mean the player vanished from basketball. Many continue overseas, join national team programs, find roles in other professional leagues, or build successful careers outside the WNBA. The correct question is not, why were these players not good enough? The correct question is this: how many different kinds of excellent basketball players can one highly specialized professional league realistically accommodate? These 8 players earned their championships. Their skills solved real problems. Professional basketball simply changed the assignment.
Prime Field